You're watching the Telly Award-winning Entertainment Las Vegas Style. With your host, Entertainment Ambassador, Tony Sacca.
There's no other place like Las Vegas to see. No other place like Las Vegas to be. Where beautiful mountains surround the town. Your dreams and fantasies are all around. The lights are so bright, they stand so high in the sky. To let you know there's gonna be a show in Las Vegas. What a town.
Tonight, from the Imperial Palace, comedian, host, entertainer Frank Marino and his Divas. This is Entertainment Las Vegas Style.
And like I was saying with the TV, I'm watching the news while I'm getting ready tonight. You're going to love this. O.J. Simpson is appealing his case again. Will somebody please get in touch with this man and tell him our slogan works here? What happens in Vegas? For him, it's going to be, unfortunately, 30 years.
And on the outside, what stays in Vegas must be very good. Frank Marino has been performing in Las Vegas for over 25 years. Now at the Imperial Palace, Frank Marino's Divas.
Okay, I'm sitting here with Frank Marino.
Is it?
Frank Marino.
On a casual Friday with my butterflies in my hair.
Frank, this show is simply magnificent. After 25 years, I think you got it right, huh?
You know, all that rehearsing really paid off, huh?
Unbelievable. You know, we have American superstars, and those people actually portray legendary entertainers, and then we have legends in concert, but this goes beyond that. I mean, I am so amazed about this show. The actors. I don't even want to call these guys female impersonators anymore.
Yeah, they're actors.
They're
right.
actors. I don't even know that they're lip syncing. I mean, when I used to watch your show 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, to me it was a female impersonator show.
Right.
It's beyond that. It's really gone. I think it's one of the best shows that I have seen of its kind ever.
Well, thank
ever.
You know, the dancers have a big part in it too. We tried to mix like a Thunder from Down Under with a La Cage, which is the old show I used to be in, together and make this one big conglomeration of just pure entertainment.
When I was knowing that you were putting this show together, I was saying, how's Frank going to make this show different than it was? Him coming out,
Right.
doing comedy, doing jokes, introducing men portraying women.
Right.
It's beyond that. It really is.
Yeah, what I tried to do, I tried to keep, like, it's a formula. I tried to keep what worked from the other show as far as formulas go, like me coming in and out of, you know, each character wearing a different outfit and creating my own crazy looks, and then just doing a more MTV, VH1 type show rather than a cabaret type show. And we put the new acts, like you saw Lady Gaga in there. Lady Gaga is one of the biggies, Britney Spears. But we kept Cher, we kept Madonna, you know, we kept the staples that people want to see, because we get every age group. It's everything from prom kids to senior citizens. And it's funny, we're at a 10 o'clock time slot now, and I was really nervous about doing that because we always did like 7 or 8 o'clock. But it's funny because the older people will have dinner and come to the show, and the younger people will come to the show and then go to the nightclub. So it's really a really good time that I didn't think would work for us, but it does. What a wonderful audience! I am so glad to be out here. You would not believe what we got going on backstage. We have Madonna, Cher, Bette Midler, and they're all shaving in the same mirror.
So how did Frank Marino actually reinvent himself for this show?
You know, I think I always reinvented myself, even in the other show, but I don't think I reinvented myself. I just am able to do what I always wanted to do. It's nice to be the boss, because if I want to do something, I do it. If I'm right, I take the credit. If I'm wrong, then, you know, I got to take the blame as well.
I always like a producer who's also a performer. You're on both sides of the fence, so you have a little more compassion for the cast.
And, you know, I'll tell you, a lot of executives don't like working with performers that are also producers, because they don't want to get that ego and temperament in the way. So you got to realize that keep that in check and take other people's opinions and, you know, make it work. Now, Spy Entertainment, where my partner Alex is the vice president and Adam Steck is the president, they produce the show with me. So I got to learn. I'm not always right. I got to listen to what their input is and, you know, take that. Alex lit the entire show and, you know, I didn't even have to look at it. It just was done, you know, like I knew it would be right.
Get this party started on a Saturday night. Everybody's waiting for me to arrive. I got lots of style. Check my gold diamond rings. I can go for miles if you know what I mean.
More with comedian, entertainer, host Frank Marino at the Imperial Palace.
There's no other place like Las Vegas to see.
You're watching Entertainment Las Vegas Style.
You know, I think my father would kick my ass if he ever saw me in this dress. It's his.
We continue with comedian, host, entertainer Frank Marino.
The show looks so simple, but it's yet so sophisticated.
It's like ice skating. It takes a lot of effort and time behind the scenes to make what you see on stage look effortless.
Let's go back 30 years, Frank Marino, before he became a Vegas icon. Where were you?
I was going to school to be a doctor. You know, I didn't know what kind of doctor. If I stayed in the field of being a doctor, I probably would have been a plastic surgeon. I was working as a junior pharmacist while I was going to regular school before I went into medical school. And in New York, the big pharmacies have a makeup counter up front. I spent a lot of time at that makeup counter, I think, and all the reps would come in and, you know, show you the products and how to sell them to the other people. And I learned how to use the makeup and everything. And through that was the first time I put on makeup for Halloween, trying to be a female.
But how did Joan Rivers become part of your act?
Well, my favorite entertainer was always Diana Ross. So when I went out that Halloween, I was dressed as Diana Ross. Then I woke up and realized, oop, you're not black. And then, oop, you really can't sing. So better you do somebody white that does comedy. That being said, it was Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller. I took the lesser of two evils. There were only two major comedians that were, you know, females at the time. And Joan Rivers was the permanent guest host on Carson at the time, so she was like a superstar. That being said, I started impersonating her. I wanted to be live. I didn't want to lip sync. I wanted to, you know, do my own comedy. And when I started getting into it, she was playing in Atlantic City. And she was very nice to me. She let me come backstage and, you know, I showed her my photos and she was very cordial. And she introduced me to Lou Paciocco, who was producing a show in Atlantic City called La Cage. I went over to La Cage to see the show and I flew out to Beverly Hills where his other show was. I auditioned. And they loved it. They put me in Florida for 1 year, and then Pia Zadora and our husband, Rickless, who owned the Riviera at the time, saw the show and built that Mardi Gras Plaza onto the Riviera so we could do our show.
Wow.
On a 3-month contract. It ended up being 25 years. I'm so jealous. I have nothing. In the summertime, I pick up frogs, rub them on my chest. I prayed for warts. And my boyfriend, he's so mean. He's like, I don't know why you bother to wear a bra. You got nothing to put in it. I said, you wear underwear, don't you? But then he starts with all that stupid shit. How come you never call out my name when you're having an orgasm? I said I would. You're never there.
The voice, you've changed your voice texture. Before, you tried to be like a Joan Rivers, but now you're really your own voice.
Yeah.
And you introduce yourself as Joan Rivers, and we feel Joan Rivers, but then we start molding into the Frank Marino
I'd rather
character.
be Frank. Here's what happens, and I'll tell you why that is. When I got to Vegas, even though Joan has always been very nice to me, she did feel it was a little too close for comfort. In 1986, she sued me for $5 million, a very famous lawsuit, first impersonator to be sued by the celebrity, which actually boosted my career. It gave me my 15 minutes of international fame, and America was mad at Joan Rivers, so it happened at the right time. She just left Carson. So they were all on my side. I had comedians writing me jokes, showing me how to be better. And then I had to keep Joan in the show because that's the name on the marquee, Frank Marino as Joan Rivers. The audience liked it, and I hate to take it out. But my heart is not in the Joan Rivers part. I do the opening as Joan, in the little suit like you see her on TV and the whole bit. And then I put on the glamorous Bob Mackie gowns, and I do sort of a fashion show. I really shouldn't make fun of anybody. I look like Big Bird. Boy, did Bob Mackie screw this one up. He lied to me. He's like, look, I'll make it for you. You wear it, they'll love it. It looked like I got a canarial disease. Chirpies! please. But don't worry, I heard it was tweetable. Oh, don't encourage me. I could go all night. Feel like I'm on Quack.
Most guys grow up wanting sophisticated automobiles, motorcycles, you know, things like that. You have a large...
High heels and evening gowns. Yeah. But I had to wear the high heels and evening gowns so I could afford the sophisticated automobiles and toys like that.
Let's talk about your gowns. I mean, do you copy other fashions, or how do you come up with your gowns?
Either I have an idea or I see somebody wear something on the Academy Awards or on one of the award shows and I try to copy it. Bob Mackie himself, who works with Cher and Diana Ross and the big stars, made a couple of my gowns. So it works all different ways. And it's really funny because I have a big warehouse filled with all the old, for 25 years you can imagine there's thousands of gowns. And you don't realize how styles change until you look back in the closet and go, oh, remember the big shoulder pads, or you remember whatever the trend was at the time when you look back.
Let's talk about the different wigs that you...
Right, I like simple. I want you to see from this hair, I hate to overdo. You know, I'm very, modest, casual person. My wigs are like art pieces. Actually, Leslie R.C. does a lot of my wigs, and Kenneth Blake, who does Madonna in the show, does a lot of wigs for me. He's also a hairdresser. That being said, I never try to look like a woman. I try to look like the top of a wedding cake or something exotic. You could go next door to see the girl next door. When you come to see Divas, I want to make sure you see fantasy. I want the gowns to be over the top. I want the hair to be crazy. I want the jewelry to be so large, I could kill somebody with this earring. But I want it to be just dream-like, rather than blah. Before I got this job, I used to work as a lampshade at a whorehouse. They wouldn't give me one of the good jobs. Actually, I would just stand at the door. When people would leave, I would say, thank you for coming.
Next, what makes a man a man?
There's no other place like